PGA of America call with Jack Nicklaus. It is star one to ask a question today. It is now my pleasure to turn the conference over to your moderator, Kelly Albin.
Thank you, Jill, and on behalf of the PGA of America, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this conference call leading up to the season's final major, the 95th PGA Championship at Oak Hill Country Club in Rochester, New York. The PGA Championship will be contested on the East Course at Oak Hill during the week of August 5th through the 11th. And we are delighted to have with us today PGA member Jack Nicklaus, who won his fifth and final PGA Championship at Oak Hill in 1980. That year, Jack was the only player to break par at the PGA Championship, finishing at 6 under par, 274, and winning by 7 shots over Andy Bean. That was a record margin of victory that stood for just over 32 years until Rory McIlroy's 8-shot victory a year ago at Kiowa Island. Jack, welcome. I'm sure you have many fond memories of Oak Hill and winning that championship in 1980, which tied you with Rochester native Walter Hagen for the most PGA Championship victories all time.
Yeah, I obviously enjoyed it. I remember that was a year that I'd gone into Oak Hill having won the U.S. Open at Baltusrol, and I remember following that, I sort of had a letdown, and I had a hard time getting myself back up, from a ball striking standpoint. And I was up there the weekend before with my son Jack. We were playing, and I was hitting the ball fair, but I was just putting awful. And Jackie gave me a putting lesson, and on taking the heel of my putter through the line rather than breaking it off, I was breaking off my stroke. And anyway, that week I never did get to hit the ball very well, but I absolutely ran the tables with my putter. Everything I drew back went in the hole, and it was one of those weeks that I just turned around and I'd make a mistake, and all of a sudden I'd hold a 30-footer and I'd just sort of chuckle and I'd say, "Okay, here we go. We'll keep on going." But it was fun. I love Oak Hill. It's a wonderful golf course. It's changed a lot through the years. For the first time that I played U.S. Open there, I think it was 1966, if I recall. 68. I'm sorry. It was I won it.
68 when you finished to lead.
Yeah, 68, and the 18th hole was changed greatly. A couple of holes on the front nine were changed. I think par 3 15th was changed. There were some holes that were changed that made the golf course a little bit more difficult. But it was still Oak Hill, and Oak Hill was still a beautiful northern tree-lined, softly rolling piece of property that was very enjoyable to play.
Jack, why do you think Oak Hill has stood the test of time throughout the years? It's going to be the 11th national championship to be played there when the PGA Championship is played in just a couple weeks.
Well, I don't really know, except that from the things I just described earlier, it's a good test. Nobody's ever really chewed it apart, and it's one that you've got to play smart on, but you've got to control your golf ball, and you've also got to putt, because the greens are not easy greens.
Thank you, Jack. Let's take a few more minutes. You and I will discuss a couple of other items of note, and then we'll move on to questions from those who are calling in. I want to start first with this year, 2013, and in fact, just this last Sunday, to the day, Jack, marked the 50th anniversary of your first PGA Championship victory on what I'm sure you remember is an incredibly sweltering day, and I guess a sweltering week at the Dallas Athletic Club in 1963. What do you recall from that week as you came from behind to win your first PGA Championship?
Well, I don't recall much about the championship itself. I guess I think I started the last round with an eagle, if I'm not mistaken, but...
That's correct. You eagled the first hole, and then you had some birdies on 8, 12, and 15 that really helped put it away.
Yeah, but basically, what really happened that week, that was when they used to have the British Open and the PGA back-to-back, which was really kind of silly, but that's what they had, and I think that's probably why Hogan did not play in the fourth major because he couldn't get back to play in it. And, it was before the time of jets. So, I was fortunate to be able to get back. And we came from where I lost by a shot at Lytham, where I sort of felt like I gave that one away. And then bogeying the last two holes, they're going from a 50-degree temperature, 55-degree temperature to 100 or 110-degree temperature. It was a big change, and I think a lot of the guys got back, and I think they were probably pretty tired from the British Open, and I think they were tired from, the weather just absolutely just beat them down. And so, I guess I was a young guy that I handled those conditions pretty well. And I remember we had a fair amount of rain, and I don't think we had a lot of wind, but we had some really hot weather, and it was, I just sort of managed my game pretty well, played a good last round, and won the championship.
Well, you closed with 68. Bruce Crampton led by 3 strokes going into that final round. That eagle on the first hole, you don't have a lot of golf courses that have par 5s in major championships. The Riviera comes to mind. But to be able to eagle the first hole of a major championship has to provide, I would imagine, incredible confidence going and continuing the round.
Well, I don't remember how long the first hole was. I don't think it was a particularly long hole, because I think I maybe hit I don't remember. I think it was like a driver and a 5-iron or something. And it would be a par 4 today. But the golf course has changed. As a matter of fact, I changed the golf course quite a bit. I don't even remember what I changed, because it's been a while since I've been there. But it's it was a golf course that was chosen for the PGA Championship, and you say, well, the conditions in August are not something that's supposed to suit your game. The golf course may not have suited a lot of guys' games, but that's not what the game is. The game is go change yourself to fit the golf course, and that's why we play different courses every week. And obviously, I was able to do that week, and as were several other guys that were close. But I guess I was lucky and prevailed.
Jack, one more question from me, and then we'll turn it over to our friends out in the media. This year at Oak Hill, you're involved in something very different and very unique. Was announced on Monday. The PGA Championship Pick the Hole Location Challenge, hosted by Jack Nicklaus. You were good enough to partner with the PGA on this. I know you've spent some time with Kerry Haig, our Chief Championships Officer, about this. Can you talk a little bit further about what exactly this Pick the Hole Challenge is and what it means for fans of the game?
Well, I think we're trying, it's the 15th hole. Is the last par 3 at Oak Hill. It's got water on the right. It's a hole that was redesigned. I don't remember whether the original hole had water on it. I would doubt if it did. Kerry had come up with what he thought would be the most likely 4 pin placements on the green, which I think were front part of the green. I think sort of middle left, middle 3/4 back, and then all the way back. And then then we said we get the fans involved. I think it was a great idea because the response has been terrific to it. People have gotten very involved in being interested and say, hey, I'm going to be part of the PGA Championship. And I think that's what the PGA of America wants. They want to include people in the game. They want to grow the game, and they want to make sure that people feel like they're part of what the championship is. And I think it's kind of a neat thing. I tried to get the PGA to do all 4 holes, and I said, well, maybe that was a little bit too much the first year. All 4 pin placements, maybe a little too much the first year because, you just didn't know what the weather conditions and everything was going to change. But anyway, the 1 was the last round, and I think that's, I'm not going to divulge which one I think it'll be, but I think there was one that's a little bit more difficult than the others. My bet is that that's the one they're picking.
And and fans can go on to PGA.com now through the 3rd round of the PGA Championship, August 10th, to vote for the one that they want to choose. They can vote once a day. Jack, you made a hole-in-one on that hole, I believe, in a practice round back in 1980.
Thank you for reminding me, because I didn't remember. Is that right? I did. Well, there would have been one of my hole-in-ones that I wouldn't have remembered.
Nice to shoot 65 in a practice round with a hole-in-one.
Yeah, that's right. I guess so.
Jack, thank you. We'll open it up for questions now, and Jill, I'm sure you have quite a few on the line.
Yes, thank you. Please press star 1 on your phone to ask a question. Make sure your mute button is disengaged to allow your signal to reach our equipment. And our first question comes from Adam Shupak with Golf Week.
Hi, Jack. Lee Trevino is going to be honored up at the PGA later on in August, and I wanted to ask you if you had played with him yet, or what you knew about him by the time he was in the hunt in 1968 at that U.S. Open. And in that final round, you came in seven strokes behind. Was there a point that you thought you might have a chance there, and also at what point did you feel like it wasn't going to be your day?
Well, I'll go back on my first time that I saw Trevino. Was we played at Baldwin in '67, and he finished 5th, and we were at Cleveland the next week, and I saw this fellow on the practice tee hitting balls that I didn't recognize, and I said, "Who's that?" And he said, "Oh, that's a new player, Lee Trevino." Oh, so that's true. That's the kid that finished 5th last week. Yep, that was the kid. So anyway, that was my first sighting of Trevino. I don't know whether we played that year or not. But at Oak Hill, the last round, I thought that I was going to win the tournament, and Trevino holds some unbelievable putts coming down the stretch. Every time I seemed to do something well, he was hitting it. He was not hitting it straight for him, but he was holding everything he looked at coming down. I think he held a 20 or 25 footer on 2 or 3 holes coming down the stretch, and that sort of made the difference. And I think that that tournament itself obviously established Lee Trevino, and from then on, he was always a force to be reckoned with. He was a terrific player. He was a great competitor, and he's become a great friend.
You also, we talked about this a bit during Marion in '71, and you took him aside in the locker room. What motivated you to sit him down and kind of tell him about how good you thought he could be?
Well, I don't remember I did that at Marion, but Lee had always talked about he couldn't play Augusta, and he always said there were certain courses that he couldn't play. And I said, Lee, don't be ridiculous. I said, you're an unbelievable ball striker. You can hit any shot there is. You're as good as I've ever seen, and I think that don't put yourself down. You got you can win all those tournaments, and he won everything but the Masters, and I still think that had he not had an attitude in that direction, he would have won that too. He's why did I do that? Well, I like him. I think he's I like to see guys play well. I have never had any hesitation to help a fellow competitor. It didn't bother me. He still had to beat me, and and of course I had to beat him. So to me, the better they played, that was fine with me. All I just had to do was play better.